Keep a small circle of confidants. Proverbs 18:24 teaches us, "He who has many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend, singular, more loyal than a brother." When you grant intimacy to many people, you're giving these people direct access to your emotions. Let's think about this practically. Imagine you leave home in the morning, catch the bus or get in your car, park, get out, and while walking down the street, you encounter someone you've never seen in your life. This stranger, for some reason, starts saying bad things about you, starts putting down your image, speaking badly of your character, your choices. You look at that person and think, never seen him, don't know him. You simply walk past and move on. The whole day unfolds normally. You work, fulfill your responsibilities, interact with other people, resolve your pending matters. When you get home at night, you don't even remember to mention what happened. That person who spoke badly of you simply made no difference in your life. Their words didn't touch you. You didn't lose sleep over it. You didn't cry. You didn't dwell on it. Why? Because you don't know that person. They're irrelevant in your life. Now imagine a different situation. You arrive home and the person you deeply love, perhaps your husband, your wife, your father, your mother, someone truly important to you, says the exact same words that stranger said on the street. The exact same words. But this time, something completely different happens inside you. You feel an immense pain in your chest. You go to your room and cry. You feel sad, hurt, distressed. You take it to bed, lose sleep, dwell on it for days. Why do the same words have such different effects? Why did you completely ignore the stranger and were deeply affected by your loved one? The answer is simple and powerful. You gave the person you love the key to access your emotions. And what is that key? Intimacy. Intimacy is a precious gift, but it's also a powerful tool. When you offer intimacy to someone, you're basically saying, "You have permission to enter the deepest layers of my being. Your words can affect me. Your opinions matter to me. You have access to my heart." That's why the words of intimate people carry so much weight. Now here's the crucial point. You can't stop loving people. Love is a universal principle, something we should cultivate broadly. But intimacy? Intimacy is another story. You don't need to and shouldn't give intimacy to all the people you love or who cross your path. Think about your life right now. How many people have unrestricted access to your emotions? How many people can call you at any hour and dump their frustrations, complaints, fears, and you automatically absorb it all? How many people enter your house, not just physically, but emotionally, and mess with everything, stir up your feelings, disturb your peace? When you have many close friends, you're distributing too many keys, and each person who has a key can open a different door inside you. One person opens the door of doubt, another opens the door of fear, another opens the door of insecurity, and before you realize it, your inner home is full of unwanted visitors, and you've lost control over what comes in and what goes out. Remember, faith is spiritual, but focus is emotional. When someone accesses your emotions negatively, that person is directly messing with your focus. And when you lose focus, you lose the ability to keep faith strong. Faith needs focus to sustain itself. Focus is what feeds faith. Focus is what keeps your eyes on the goal, on the purpose, on what God promised you. Therefore, be selective. Cultivate few true confidants. And when I say few, I mean truly few. I'm not talking about 10, 15 people. I'm talking about 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 individuals who truly deserve access to your inner world. People who, when they speak with you, build up instead of tear down. People who, when they give opinions about your life, are genuinely concerned with your well-being, not their own agendas. Many close friends will rob your focus. They'll fill your mind with contradictory opinions, doubts, questions that lead you nowhere. And in the end, you'll be so confused, so divided, that you won't be able to make any decision. You'll be paralyzed, not by lack of options, but by excess of them. Protect your emotions, protect your focus, protect your faith. Have few close friends, but let them be true friends, friends who support your journey instead of hindering it.
2. Choose companions who share your values. 1 Corinthians 15:33 warns us clearly, "Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character." Now that we've established you need few close friends, the fundamental question arises, who should these people be? Because it can't be just anyone, right? You need to know how to select. You need to have clear and well-defined criteria. And here's the most important criterion. Choose people whose principles and values align with yours. Let's go deeper into this. There's an alternative translation of this verse that talks about bad conversations instead of bad company, but the result is the same. What you surround yourself with, whether through conversations or relationships, has the power to corrupt what's good in you. And notice, the verse doesn't say bad company corrupts bad people. It says it corrupts good character. In other words, people who already have values, people who already have character, people who already have strong convictions, these people can be corrupted if they're not careful with their company. Don't underestimate the power of influence. You can be a strong, determined person with solid principles, but if you spend too much time with people who don't share these principles, gradually, without realizing it, you'll start to give in. You'll start questioning what was once non-negotiable. You'll start considering things that were once unthinkable. When your plan is executed based only on your emotions, it's imperfect and flawed. Your emotions are volatile. They change with the wind. They're influenced by 1,000 external factors. But when your plan is carried out according to God's purposes, when it's aligned with eternal principles and absolute values, it's perfect and will materialize in your life. And who will tell that victory story is you. But you need to allow it to happen. And to allow it, you need to make decisions today, right now. Make a mental list, or better yet, a physical list of people who cannot be close friends. If that list is long, that's your choice. You chose to be close to many people, and now you need to make new choices, because your choices make you. You're not a victim of chance, you're the result of your own decisions. An adult can only be emotionally hurt if they allow it, and they allow it due to lack of knowledge, lack of awareness about the importance of protecting their emotions. An emotionally hurt adult cannot make permanent choices because they'll make these choices based on their pain, not on their reason or values. And decisions made in pain generate disastrous consequences. So, before making a choice that will have permanent consequences, heal your wounds, take care of your injuries, reorganize your social circle, make the necessary changes. Now, let's be practical. What characterizes a close friend? A close friend is one who enters your home, sits on your couch as if it were theirs, opens your fridge without asking permission. It's the one with whom you don't need to keep up appearances. It's the one who knows your flaws and stays by your side. It's the one you can call at 3 in the morning and know they'll answer. How many friends like that do you have? If you're honest, you'll realize there are very few. Maybe 1, 2, at most 3 or 4. And that's okay, because that's how it should be. Close friends should be rare, precise, selected. But you can receive visitors in your home. You can have coworkers you have lunch with. You can have acquaintances you exchange ideas with. Do you understand the difference? Visitor, colleague, acquaintance, close friend. These are completely different levels of relationship, and each level requires a different level of access to your life. Visitors stay in the living room. Colleagues stay in the professional environment. Acquaintances stay in superficial interactions, but close friends, they have access to the kitchen, the bedroom, the heart. And for that very reason, they need to be chosen with extreme care. So, who are the chosen few? Those who represent the opposite of bad influences. Those who, when you look at them, you see reflections of the values you want to cultivate in your own life. Those who inspire you to be better, not worse. Those who challenge you to grow, not to stagnate or regress. Walking with people who think radically differently from you, who have values opposite of yours, who don't respect what's sacred to you, this will eventually make you think differently too. Not immediately, but gradually. It's like erosion. It doesn't happen in a day, but it certainly happens if you don't protect yourself. Your acquaintances can think whatever they want. You're not responsible for their opinions. But your close friends, they need to believe in the same God as you. They need to share the same fundamental values. They need to respect the same principles. Imagine yourself in a WhatsApp group where a bunch of people are proposing, let's do this, let's do that, and you know you can't, you know you shouldn't, you know that goes against your values. But you're there, listening, following the conversations, and your mind, even against your will, starts to consider it. You don't need to do wrong to already be in danger. Just considering wrong is enough for you to lose what? Focus. And without focus, there's no faith. And without faith, there's no victory. It's a chain. That's why choosing your companions is so crucial. It's not being fussy. It's not being arrogant. It's simply protecting what's most precious in you, your faith, your focus, your purpose.
3. Don't place all your expectations on people. Psalm 62:5 declares clearly and powerfully, "Find rest, O my soul, in God alone. My hope comes from Him." Pay attention to the specificity of this verse. It doesn't say mainly in God or more in God than in people. It says in God alone. It's an exclusivity. It's an absolute directive. Where does your hope come from? From God. In whom should you wait? In God, not in people. In God. Now, before you misunderstand this, let me clarify. This doesn't mean you're going to isolate yourself from the world, that you're going to become a cold person, that you're going to stop trusting any human being. That's not it. What this principle means is that your fundamental expectation, your foundational hope, your emotional foundation cannot be based on people, because people are fallible, limited, imperfect. Can your spouse do wonderful things for you? Of course they can. And when that happens, it's beautiful, it's gratifying, it's a gift. But if all your happiness, all your peace, all your security depends on what your spouse does or doesn't do, you're in an emotional prison. You've given control of your inner life to another person who, just like you, has good days and bad days, has limitations, has their own struggles. Can your boss recognize your work? Can they promote you, give you a raise, value your effort? Yes, they can, and it would be great if that happened. But if all your self-esteem is deposited in your boss's approval, what happens when they have a bad day and don't recognize your work? What happens when they, for reasons that have nothing to do with you, choose someone else for that opportunity? You crumble. Can your child give you satisfaction and joy? Certainly. But if all your fulfillment as a person is tied to your child's achievements, you're living through them instead of living your own life. And more, you're placing on them a burden they shouldn't carry, the burden of sustaining another person's happiness. See, the problem isn't in receiving good things from people. The problem is making these good things the sole or primary source of your hope and peace. Because when you do that, you're building your emotional house on sand. And when storms come, and they always come, your house collapses. But when you place your hope solely in God, when your peace is founded on something transcendent, eternal, unshakable, then people's actions or inactions can affect you, yes, but they don't destroy you. They can sadden you momentarily, but they don't steal your deep joy. They can disappoint you, but they don't take away your hope. It's like having an emotional bank account. If you have all your emotional money invested in people, each disappointment is a direct withdrawal from your account, and depending on the size of the disappointment, you could become completely emotionally bankrupt.
But if your emotional reserve is in God, people can make small withdrawals, but your account never reaches zero because there's an infinite source continuously replenishing you. Here's the beauty of this principle. When you stop placing all your expectations on people, you actually free those people. You free your spouse from the impossible obligation of always making you happy. You free your children from the pressure of always making you proud. You free your friends from the responsibility of always being available. And, ironically, when you do this, your relationships improve drastically, because now they're based on love and gratitude, not on need and demands. When your spouse does something special for you, it's a wonderful bonus, not an obligation you're monitoring. When your boss recognizes your work, it's additional satisfaction, not the only source of validation for your competence. When your friend shows up in difficult times, it's a blessing, not something you'll use to measure the value of the friendship. You can and should have healthy expectations regarding people, expectations that are part of functional relationships like fidelity, respect, consideration. But your fundamental hope, that hope that says, "I'll be okay, I'll make it, I have a future, my life has purpose," that hope cannot depend on imperfect human beings. That hope needs to be anchored in God. Stop constantly monitoring whether people are living up to your expectations. Stop measuring each interaction to see if you're getting what you need. Stop making silent demands that no one can fulfill. Place your hope in God, and then you'll be able to love people freely without the constant anxiety that they're going to disappoint you. And when there are inevitably disappointments, because there will be, because we're all human, these disappointments won't have the power to destroy you. Will they hurt? Yes. Will they sadden you? Yes. But they won't steal your hope, because your hope wasn't there to be stolen. Your hope is in a safe place, in God, where no human failure can reach.
Subscribe to the channel because you already understand that you are capable, and we are determined to help you. 4. Stop complaining. There are people who say, "I feel good complaining. I like to vent. I need to get it out." And look, I understand the impulse. Life is hard. Things go wrong. People disappoint us. Circumstances frustrate us. It's human to want to express that frustration. But here's the question you need to understand deeply. When you complain, you're not just getting it out or venting. You're doing much more than that. You're dumping your pain on other people. And you can do one of two things with the people around you. You can contaminate them with your hope, or you can contaminate them with your pain. There's no middle ground. There's no neutrality. You don't pass through people's lives without causing impact. It's impossible. Each interaction, each conversation, each word that comes out of your mouth is depositing something in the heart of whoever hears you. The question is, what are you depositing? When you constantly complain about your work, you're not just expressing your dissatisfaction, you're teaching the people around you to see work as something negative. When you complain about your family, you're planting seeds of discord. When you complain about your life, you're spreading hopelessness. Now see what 1 Thessalonians 5:18 instructs us. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. In all circumstances, not in some things, not only in good things, in everything. And what does this mean practically? It means that in nothing, absolutely nothing, should you find arguments to complain. But wait, you might be thinking, does everything happen the way I want? Is everything in my life perfect? No, of course not. Life is full of challenges, injustices, problems, difficulties. But here's the powerful insight. Complaining about these things doesn't change anything except your emotional state and the emotional state of those around you, and it changes for the worse. Complaining doesn't solve problems. Complaining doesn't change circumstances. Complaining doesn't bring solutions.
What complaining does is fix your attention on what's wrong, amplify the perception of the problem, and steal your emotional energy that could be used to find solutions or simply to maintain peace in the midst of difficulty. But there's more. Besides stopping complaining, it's absolutely crucial that you stop listening to those who complain. And here's a truth you may never have considered. When someone seeks you to complain about something or someone, that person isn't seeking your help, they're seeking an ally. They want you to take their side against whatever or whoever they're complaining about. Think about practical situations. Your mother calls you to complain about someone still living with her. It could be your father, your brother, anyone. She doesn't want you to solve the problem. She wants you to be on her side when something happens, and she already knows something will happen. She's recruiting you to her team before the game even starts. How many children today hate one parent because for years they heard the version told by the other parent who separated? How many families were destroyed not by the problems themselves, but by the constant dissemination of complaints that poisoned relationships? At work, it's the same thing. Monday morning, someone approaches you. "Hey, how are you? How was your weekend?" You respond normally, and then comes, "Did you hear what happened?" You say no, and the person gets excited. "Seriously, you didn't hear? He put it in the WhatsApp group, but then deleted it, but I took a screenshot." Run from people who take screenshots. Run from people who save screenshots of conversations, who save messages to use later. These people aren't seeking justice, they're storing ammunition for revenge. They're experts at claiming rights, but what they really want isn't to get back what was taken from them. What they want is for whoever hurt them to feel exactly what they're feeling. And here's a crucial distinction you need to understand. Justice is wanting back what was taken from you. Justice is legitimate. Justice is seeking reparation for harm. But revenge is wanting whoever took from you to feel what you're feeling. Revenge is wanting to cause pain in response to pain. And revenge is not of God. So what should you do? Give up revenge. If it's necessary to seek justice in an appropriate and legal way, do that. But don't cultivate in your heart the desire to see another person suffer. Don't hold on to offenses. Don't accumulate resentments. Don't become a collector of grievances. Because each complaint you keep, each offense you cultivate, each resentment you feed, all of this is stealing something precious from you. It's stealing your peace. It's stealing your joy. It's stealing your focus. And without focus, you lose what? Faith. You can't simultaneously be focused on your miracle and focused on your complaints. You can't be looking at where God is taking you while constantly mentally reviewing all the injustices you've suffered, all the disappointments you've experienced, all the problems you face. Choose where you'll put your energy. Choose what you'll talk about. Choose what you'll feed in your mind and heart. And most importantly, choose whom you'll listen to. Because if you keep listening to people who complain, even if you don't complain, you're being contaminated by their pain. You're allowing negativity into your life through your ears. Be someone who infects people with hope, not someone who contaminates people with pain. And for that, stop complaining and stop giving space to those who complain.
5. Be intimate with God. This is the foundation of everything. This is the principle that sustains all the others. You can have few close friends. You can choose your companions well. You can avoid placing expectations on people. You can stop complaining. But if you don't cultivate intimacy with God, everything else will be just human effort, willpower that eventually runs out. We believe in new beginnings. We deeply believe in this. Not as an abstract concept or as a motivational cliché, but as a powerful spiritual reality. We believe in resurrections, not just Christ's resurrection, but in the small and large resurrections that happen in the life of each person who opens themselves to God's transforming power. We believe in the possibility of you remaking your life, no matter how broken it is now. We believe in the reinvention of your story, even if the previous chapters are full of pain, failure, and regret. We believe it's possible for you to renew your spirit, replenish your strength, rekindle your internal flame to keep fighting for life, for your dreams, for your purpose. And why do we believe all this? Because we're aware of a fundamental truth. Life isn't finished. Your story hasn't reached the end. What you're living today is a moment, just a moment that doesn't necessarily need to be good, that can even be extremely difficult, but that certainly doesn't need to materialize and define the entire trajectory of your existence. You can remake yourself. It's not easy, but it is possible. You can reinvent yourself. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. You can renew your heart, even if it's tired, wounded, disillusioned. You can find strength to face situations and moments that are difficult, moments you wouldn't want to be living, but that are part of your journey now. And we do all this work of transformation, renewal, new beginnings, always grounded in the foundation of God's grace and love. It's not out of obligation. It's not because God is a great celestial judge with a giant notebook writing down every time you stumble, every time you fail, every time you can't. That's not how it works. It's not as if God is in heaven thinking, look there, couldn't remake, negative point, couldn't renew, another negative point, another Sunday passed and you're still stuck in the same issues, I'll note it here. No. This image of God is completely distorted and doesn't represent who He really is. We do all this on the foundation of grace because when you can't, God's response isn't punishment or disappointment. The response is, then redo it, start again, try again. Because, and this is beautiful, God never tires of our new beginnings. Never. It doesn't matter how many times you've already tried and failed. It doesn't matter how many promises you've made and not kept. It doesn't matter how many new starts you've had. God is always ready for one more. That's the difference between having intimacy with God and just having religiosity. Religiosity puts you under constant pressure, makes you feel you're never good enough, that you need to earn God's love through your performance. But intimacy with God gives you rest, gives you the security of knowing you're loved not for what you do, but for who you are, His son or daughter. However, and here comes the necessary honesty, it's often hard to believe this. Believing in renewal, believing in reinvention, believing in new beginnings can be quite an arduous task. Why? Because there are moments in our life when things become absurdly clouded, obscure, confusing. There are periods when the fog covering our eyes is so dense, so heavy, that even light, which always tries to get through, which always strives to show us the way, can't penetrate. The density of the problem, the density of our issues, the weight of our circumstances create a barrier that seems impenetrable. And on days like this, in periods like this, our heart becomes extremely downcast. We become tired, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. We look at life without many prospects, without many possibilities. Tomorrow doesn't seem promising. It just seems like more of the same, or maybe even worse. It's in these moments that intimacy with God becomes not just important, but essential for emotional and spiritual survival. Because when you have intimacy with God, you have access to a source of hope that doesn't depend on circumstances. You have access to a peace that doesn't make logical sense. You have access to a strength that isn't yours. Intimacy with God isn't attending church every Sunday, although that can be part of it. Intimacy with God isn't reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, although that's valuable. Intimacy with God isn't praying half an hour every day, although prayer is fundamental. Intimacy with God is living conscious of His presence. It's talking with Him throughout the day, not just at established times. It's trusting Him not just with your words, but with your choices. It's seeking first God's kingdom and His righteousness, knowing that all other things will be added. Intimacy with God is allowing Him to have access to the deepest and hidden areas of your heart. It's being honest with Him about your doubts, your fears, your frustrations.
It's not hiding his failures from him, but bringing them to light knowing there will be grace, not condemnation. Intimacy with God is recognizing that without him, you can't do anything lasting or meaningful. It's understanding that your strength comes from him, your wisdom comes from him, your hope comes from him. It's living in a posture of dependence that isn't weakness, but rather the recognition of reality. We were created to live in communion with our Creator. And when you cultivate this intimacy, something supernatural happens. You become resilient in a way that can't be explained just psychologically. You find peace in the midst of chaos. You maintain hope when all logical reasons point to despair. You manage to continue when everything in you screams to give up. Because intimacy with God connects you with something greater than yourself. It connects you with the eternal purpose He has for your life. It connects you with unconditional love that doesn't change based on your performance. It connects you with the grace that allows you to start over as many times as necessary. So, of all 5 points we've discussed, this is the most important. Have few close friends. Yes. Choose your companions well. Yes. Don't place all your expectations on people. Yes. Stop complaining. Yes. But above all, be intimate with God, because it's from this intimacy that everything else flows. It's from this intimacy that comes the strength to apply all the other principles. It's from this intimacy that's born the faith that doesn't give up, the focus that doesn't get lost, the hope that doesn't die. Cultivate this intimacy, protect this intimacy, prioritize this intimacy, because in the end, it's what will make all the difference between a life that merely survives and a life that truly lives. The night of futility. However, sometimes it's hard to believe this. There are moments in our life when things become absurdly clouded. The fog is so dense that even light tries to get through but can't. On days like this, our heart becomes extremely downcast, tired, and we look at life without many prospects, without many possibilities. Tomorrow doesn't seem promising. It just seems like more of the same, or maybe even worse. It's in these moments that intimacy with God becomes not just important, but essential for emotional and spiritual survival. Because when you have intimacy with God, you have access to a source of hope that doesn't depend on circumstances. You have access to a peace that doesn't make logical sense. You have access to a strength that isn't yours. Intimacy with God isn't attending church every Sunday, although that can be part of it. Intimacy with God isn't reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, although that's valuable. Intimacy with God isn't praying half an hour every day, although prayer is fundamental. Intimacy with God is living conscious of His presence. It's talking with Him throughout the day, not just at established times. It's trusting Him not just with your words, but with your choices. It's seeking first God's kingdom and His righteousness, knowing that all other things will be added. Intimacy with God is allowing Him to have access to the deepest and hidden areas of your heart. It's being honest with Him about your doubts, your fears, your frustrations. It's not hiding His failures from Him, but bringing them to light knowing there will be grace, not condemnation. Intimacy with God is recognizing that without Him, you can't do anything lasting or meaningful. It's understanding that your strength comes from Him, your wisdom comes from Him, your hope comes from Him. It's living in a posture of dependence that isn't weakness, but rather the recognition of reality. We were created to live in communion with our Creator. And when you cultivate this intimacy, something supernatural happens. You become resilient in a way that can't be explained just psychologically. You find peace in the midst of chaos. You maintain hope when all logical reasons point to despair. You manage to continue when everything in you screams to give up. Because intimacy with God connects you with something greater than yourself. It connects you with the eternal purpose He has for your life. It connects you with unconditional love that doesn't change based on your performance. It connects you with the grace that allows you to start over as many times as necessary. So, of all 5 points we've discussed, this is the most important. Have few close friends. Yes. Choose your companions well. Yes.
Subscribe to the channel because we'll have new videos every day until you reach your goal. You are capable.